Good morning and welcome to PTM.org's Breakfast with Brad, featuring the hat of William Ditchfield, my mother's dad, who passed away back in the 80s, and today's breakfast cereal, Froot Loops, pure sugar. Don't be judging. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Moving On series and a particular kind of discussion that we were having back in about 2008, 2009, and that was with two kinds of people. First of all, I had folks coming to me who said, I am ready to follow Jesus, but I can't because this whole thing of hell is eternal conscious torment is a deal killer. So because of that doctrine, I'm not going to follow Jesus. The second kind of folks I had were those who would sneak in the evenings for quiet chats like Nicodemus, who said, I've been a Christian all my life, but I'm about to abandon the faith. Why? Because hell is eternal conscious torment, is a deal killer. I can't believe in that kind of God. So with these folks who are either not going to become Christians or who are going to stop being Christians or Christ followers, because of that doctrine, I thought, I had better double check on whether they must believe this. And what I discovered in the scriptures was multiple visions or versions of God's judgment, the last days, final reckoning, and the verdict that would come from that. And within the New Testament and Old Testament, I saw that there were passages, many passages, that looked like eternal conscious torment, but also just as many on what we call annihilation. That is, those who do not follow Christ cease to be, they die and that's it, but without some kind of eternal conscious torment after that. And also I found over 30 passages which looked like after the judgment, all would be in or saved or rescued somehow. And so which of these were we to take? Well, I looked into the early church as well, and they said, you know, because of the multiple visions and versions of hell or Hades or Sheol or whatever kind of afterlife judgment you're looking at, because of those versions, we best not be dogmatic on any one of them. So, with the conclusion of the Nicene Creed, it ends this way. We believe in the life of the age to come. It doesn't talk about the death or the torment or the hell of the age to come. They realized that this needed to be an open discussion. Here's what that means. If it's an open discussion, it's not a dogma. It's not a doctrine to be taught. We might have discussions and arguments and debates on it. We might say farewell, Rob Bell, to those who write books about it. But what we find in the New Testament and what we find in the early church fathers as that was not a dogma. That would have helped us a lot in sharing the good news as good news rather than an ultimatum. And what we're discovering now is that whereas 150 years ago, preaching hell might drive people into the kingdom, treating as a dogma or dogmatic kind of doctrine now actually drives people away when they don't need to be. And so we hold this with an open hand. I personally am called what's a hopeful inclusivist. And that means I cannot presume that all will be saved. I cannot presume that even one will be lost. I cannot presume, period. What I can do is put my hope in Jesus Christ, that He is the Lord of mercy who gets the last word on these things. And happily, His mercy endures forever. That's not just sugary treats. That seems to be the best and most careful scholarly version of what we find in the New Testament. And that's what I have to say on Breakfast with Brad.